post-pandemic world might look like for both vaccinated and unvaccinated Americans. Here to help answer these questions, unemployment attorney Dominic Romano joining us live. Also, Manny Sethi is a trauma surgeon and founder of the president of Healthy Tennessee. Wanted to correct that. David Pietro is joining us here on the program. So guys, great to see you here. We're going to get these questions answered. I want to start by reading some tweets sent out by New York Governor Andrew Cuomo. In fact, he said, congrats to the Knicks and Nets on making the playoffs. At playoff games, at least 50% of seating will be for vaccinated people. In unvaccinated sections, masks and social distancing will be required. Teams can decide how much of a stadium will be a vaccinated section. Followed it up with this, saying the best way to have a great summer, get vaccinated. There are real benefits to getting vaccinated besides protecting your health. You'll be able to do all the things you love. Hashtag vaccinate New York. As we know, governors have played by a special set of rules during the pandemic to sort of keep things under control. But is it essentially legal to separate those unvaccinated people? David, talk to me about it.
You know, there's nothing specifically in the law directly saying you can discriminate on people that are unvaccinated, but there is indirectly. Our Civil Rights Act says that we cannot discriminate on people for religion. What if I have religious beliefs that don't allow me to be vaccinated? That's my right. Now you're discriminating on me based on religious beliefs. What if I have disabilities? We have the Americans with Disabilities Act. What if I have a physical ailment and I'm scared or worried that I cannot take the vaccine, and now you're discriminating on me based upon my disabilities? We also have the Equal Protection Clause, where the government is supposed to treat all of us equally under the laws, and now we're being treated unequally. And we also have our right to privacy under HIPAA laws, our constitutional right to privacy, state law rights to privacy of our healthcare records. Now we're to have to disclose those to have access to what every other American would have access to if they're vaccinated. So there's a lot of legal challenges that can be brought against these laws. They're really just inherently unfair. We threw the Constitution away when this pandemic started, and it's really unfortunate that our rights have been trampled on. We really need to start pushing back and fighting back and getting our rights back to where we were in 2019.
You know, you mentioned HIPAA. And for that, I'd like to bring in Dr. Sethi about that, because there had been conversations earlier on about potentially a vaccine passport to show that you had been vaccinated, depending on where you're going. But couldn't that violate HIPAA? And how should patients approach that?
Well, good morning, Emma. Thank you so much. You know, I very much agree with David. As a physician, I think privacy is so critical. And as we've discussed on your show before, Emma, I am very much against vaccine passports. And I agree. I think this is against patient privacy laws. And very frankly, I think they're trying to bully people into making a medical decision. And I don't ever think that ends very well. I mean, this thing is, it's under emergency authorization by the FDA, but it hasn't been, completely vetted. We have a year of data or less. And so I think it's really important to let patients make those decisions. Now, look, I made the decision to get vaccinated. So did my family. But I don't think we can bully people, and I certainly don't think they should be carrying vaccine cards. I think this is a very scary moment in terms of what they're trying to do.
Yeah, as we've talked about, you say it's an important decision, one that should be made between, either yourself or you and your doctor as well. But I want to play this soundbite from the President of the United States when it comes to vaccines. Listen to this.
Ultimately, those who are not vaccinated will end up paying the price.
It's a short soundbite there, and we don't know necessarily what he means by pay the price. But David, what sort of message does this send when it comes from the president and the White House?
It sends a message that if you don't follow the mandates that they give you, your constitutionally protected rights may be impaired. And that's just inherently not what our country was founded on. There might be many reasons why somebody doesn't take a vaccine. That's our constitutional right. The fact that the government is pushing it down our throat is really worrisome, and we really need to figure out a way to get back to where we were with our constitutional rights that are so sacred, and not let this keep continuing to happen, because this slippery slope is going to keep going down the slide, and it's not going to be good.
This next point might not have to do with either of your professions here, professional experience, but I want to talk to you about something personal, perhaps. Dating apps here, the White House enlisting some of the largest ones like Tinder and Bumble to offer some badges and other perks for those who've been vaccinated. Essentially, it might show up on your profile, or you'll have access to, the upgraded settings within these dating app profiles here. Dr. Sethi, do you think this might encourage people to get the vaccine? Would this be an incentive for some who might be hesitant? And should they look to these incentives that we've seen from, these companies come forward?
Well, I think what's going to happen, and I've talked to multiple patients who have chosen not to get vaccinated, they're just going to lie about it. Say, look, I was vaccinated to avoid the societal pressure. And so I, in fact, think this is going to disincentivize people because they're going to feel bullied. And I just think that most Americans aren't going to be forced into doing anything. We're used to making our own decisions. And I think especially medically. And so that's why I think what President Biden said is very disturbing to me, that people will pay the price if they're not vaccinated. I mean, that would be like me in my clinic saying, hey, if I don't do this surgery, you're going to pay the price. I mean, do you think a patient's going to go for it? I don't think so. And so I just think that big tech and all these things are happening is just the wrong way to do this. I think it's all about, as Emma, as you said, personal decisions with your family, with your physicians, your faith. I think all of those things are so important, and we can't forget that in this time right now. We can't force people. This is America.
Yeah. Okay, guys, I appreciate you coming on the show. That's Dr. Manny Sethi, David DePietro. Thank you. We appreciate it. Have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Meanwhile, on the U.S. front,